can you guys all just please do me a really big favour before this video starts? Can you just all go and get like a ridiculous amount of snacks to make me feel better about the amount I have? Literally, you actually don't even want to know the snacks I have, but I'm going to show you anyway. The OGs themselves, M&S Millionaires Mini Bites. You need to go down there and get these. We've got digestives, we've got Maryland cookies, and to finish off, if that wasn't enough, we also have the Asda Caramel Crisp Bites to get us into these. It says there's 20 on the box. Not anymore, hun. Hello, gorgeous angels, welcome back to my YouTube channel. You're gonna need your cups of tea because, well, as you can tell, this is my biggest mug and I want us all to match. Today's video, I'm actually really excited to do. I don't feel like we've had a really big sit down and catch up in such a long time. I just feel like it's all been really go recently. Like, there's been a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes for me. And I'm just really looking forward to catching up with you guys, to be honest. So this is gonna be a really nice, fun, chilled out video. There is gonna be a lot of girl talk. So, you know, boyfriends in the back, don't say I didn't warn you. Okay, so how is everybody doing? Are we all enjoying November? I hope so. I know this time of year can be quite a difficult one for a lot of people. I feel like at this time of year it makes you feel really excited and like gushy and kind of magical inside, or it makes you just kind of feel a bit low. I've sort of gone through both sides of emotions with this time of year, so I hope everyone's doing well. I love you so much, so just keep a smile on that gorgeous face. I have asked on my Instagram story about any specific topics you guys want to speak to me about, because I don't just want to sit here and be like, so girl talk, here's what's going on in my life. I wanted to make it relevant to like how you guys are feeling at the moment. So I had some really good sort of questions or topics to talk about. So thank you guys so much for guiding me on what to mention. Really popular one that I think a lot of people wanted to discuss a little bit more was the whole, you won't know if you didn't watch my Instagram story from last weekend, but I was doing questions and how do you know he's the one? That was the question. How do you know Connor is the one? And as I was going through a lot of my responses, I had a lot of kind of similar questions. How to get a successful relationship? Can you speak about waiting for the good person? Best advice on finding a decent boyfriend? Like, there was a lot kind of on relationships, so I just thought I would speak about it a little bit. I want to start this off by saying that I was never a secure person. Like, if you've known me for a while, if you've watched my videos for a while, you will know that I've definitely come a long way in terms of like self-confidence and security within myself. When I was younger and I was kind of just starting out with boyfriends and relationships and stuff, I was always very insecure. I was cheated on. Like, I grew up with my parents' relationship being quite toxic, and there was a lot of sort of cheating and everything going on in that marriage. So I never really had a very good, I guess, perspective of what a relationship should really be like. I remember I always used to think a relationship that comes across as like all well and good and perfect, like, just didn't exist. Like, I always thought there was like one of them must be cheating, or what, like there must be some like dirty secret in the relationship somewhere. I just genuinely never believed that that was real life. And when I met Connor, I had had a couple of relationships by this point. I was still very insecure in a lot of ways that I didn't necessarily understand, so I didn't actively think that like Connor was going to go out and cheat on me, but I just found myself comparing myself to a lot of girls, like even people that he would follow on Instagram, which is like, you know, I look back at that now and I literally can't believe I was that girl. Like, I actually can't believe that something so small would make me feel so sick. Like, yeah, I've been through a lot, I guess, in terms of the girlfriend I've become today. Me and Karis are going to be doing like a self-confidence, self-love video in a few videos time. I think it's going to be actually coming up next week. So I'm going to save sort of all of the self-love talk and everything for that video, because I think if you guys kind of like these topics, then you'll really like that video that we're going to do. What I was speaking about on my Instagram stories was how it's really common in a lot of girls, especially, obviously I don't know about men because I haven't spoken to any about this situation, but I know it's really common for a lot of girls to feel as though the pressure we see from like romantic movies like The Notebook, I don't know, any of like your favorite movies that have like a really lovely relationship as the two main characters, even like A Star Is Born, like how amazing is that relationship? Seriously, I think it's so easy to compare your relationship from these other ones that you just see around you all the time, and it's very easy to get like trapped in, is my relationship good enough? Why isn't my relationship like that? And a really common question I'm always asked is like, how do I know that I'm going to be with Connor forever? And the short answer is, nobody knows that. Like, nobody knows who you're going to be with. I would like to think I'm going to be with Connor forever. Like, I would love to marry him and I would love to have kids with him one day, and I definitely only see my future with Connor in it. Like, I don't, at this point in time, because obviously I'm in love with Connor and we've been together for nearly 5 years, like, I don't see a future without him in it. That's not to say that over the time we've been together I haven't kind of sat back and thought, am I with the right person? How do I know I'm with the right person? And I've definitely compared my relationship and my previous relationships to relationships that I've seen around me, such as ones in movies, where the spark is constant and all the time, and there's like a huge roller coaster of emotions all the time. Like, you're really, really high and you have butterflies all the time, and then when you're low, it's like so it's like such a passionate low. Like, when you have arguments with your partner, it's like full on, but then you make up and it's like, this is how much we love each other because we've argued like cat and dog, and you're kind of always on edge. And like, because I always had that expectation of relationships, when I had been with Connor for a couple of years and I noticed nothing like that had happened in the relationship, like, I wasn't always on edge around Connor and I didn't always have butterflies, and it wasn't like we were really, really high 1 minute and then really, really low 1 minute. Like, everything has always been very constant, and there have definitely been moments in our relationship where I've thought, is this normal? Like, why don't I feel crazy, head over heels, like bizarre in love with him? Like, why doesn't that happen when I know how much I love him? Like, I know I am in love with Connor and I know that I want to spend the rest of my life with him. Why don't I have these crazy emotions? Does that mean that something's wrong with me? Does that mean that something is wrong with the relationship? The more and more I kind of started to think about these thoughts, I realised that what I really admired about my relationship and what I really loved about me and Connor was the stability. Like, I was comparing my perfectly, I'm not going to sit here and call it perfect because it's not, no relationship is perfect, no body is perfect, but my perfectly stable relationship with an amazing person who like loves me unconditionally and is always there for me and is there for me the most, you know. Like, there have been some really awful things happen behind the scenes, not with me and Connor, but like in my personal life, and Connor's always been the one, he's been right there. And yeah, like, he doesn't always know how to deal with things perfectly, but he is always there for me, and he's stable, and I know how much he loves me and makes me feel safe. Like, there is a big difference between being with somebody who makes you feel safe and then being with somebody who is just, you feel constantly like, you know, like there's constant emotions all the time. As I kind of started to recognise that my relationship with Connor was really stable, that's when I knew that he was the one, and that's when I realised that all of these false expectations that I had kind of learned through movies and I guess just society in general, that's when I knew that, like, I am more than happy to spend the rest of my life with Connor. Like, I know so many single girls that are kind of dating and or like, you know, meeting new people for the first time, and such a common thing I hear is, oh, he's a really, really nice guy but he's just not like sexy enough, or like, you know, he's like, he doesn't make me have that fire in my stomach. And I'm just like, but surely it's not really about that. You know, I honestly think it's going to take it a lot more than that for you to get to the point where the relationship is something that could last forever. Like, it's not about the spark. Do you know what I mean? It's about if you genuinely think you can go through all of the troubles that life can hand you with this person, and if you think you're going to be dealing with it together in a good enough way that both of you are going to end up being the best people that you possibly can be in life out of this horrible situation. Because surely when you meet somebody, you don't just meet them and then think, I don't want to be with them forever, you know? Like, when you're dating somebody, is that not everybody's goal? When you get into a new relationship, is that not what you think in your head? Like, see myself in 5 years time with this person, 10 years time. Like, and I just don't think it's always fair to go off of that constant spark and emotion. To put it bluntly, the truth is, the matter of the fact is that when you are with the one, it's not always emotional, it's not always like strong sexual attraction. It's more the, I feel stable with you, I feel safe with you, I know I am okay being the person that I am meant to be around you. And that is just personally how I feel about relationships. Like, that's how I know that I want to say I will be with Connor forever, because he's just proven to me time after time after time that he is ready to be here forever, you know? Like, I just think it's something that is really important, that is really overlooked with a lot of young girls today, like, because they have these expectations of my relationship doesn't look like this, I don't feel like this, therefore it can't be right and it can't be forever. I just wish people would kind of get that idea out of their heads, because that isn't what it's about. Like, a relationship isn't always supposed to be hot and sexy and loads and loads of emotion. I just think personally, I know I would 100% prefer stability and happiness, and like genuine happiness, you know? I can't think of one day ever in the whole of the years Connor and I have been together, I can't think of one day I have purposely been made to feel upset by Connor. I always just feel safe and secure around him, and that's something that I have definitely learned to go through myself. But he was even there from day one when I wasn't secure. That was issues within me and myself, but again, that's going back into kind of like the self-love realm. So I don't know, I know I've been talking about this for a really long time, but I just feel like it's a really important situation. I just feel like there's this really false expectation of relationships, and I feel like I just don't want any of my friends or any of the people I love to just be in constant doubt of whether or not they're with the right person. Like, you know when you're with the right person, because you just feel calm and you just feel safe and you just feel loved all the time. I really hope that made sense. I know for a fact I'm going to edit this back and be like, Ellie, what is your point? I always feel like I'm rambling, but that's kind of like the beauty of videos like this. I love to watch videos like this where people just sit and talk, but sometimes I do still feel like really rambly talking about this stuff, because I just don't know how people are going to take it. But there we are. I mean, all my vulnerability out on the line. That is my take on relationships, and if you know if you're with the one or the right person, a real relationship goes much deeper than the constant flirtation and the constant sexual attraction. Like, you need to know that you can go through life with this person. I've also had a lot of questions on like bitchiness and friendship groups. Girls can be so mean, and I don't understand it. Like, I can't imagine being one of those girls that just purposely wants to make people feel bad about themselves or like put them in nasty situations. I have never been one of those girls, and I don't plan on ever being one of those girls. My take on that whole situation, like, if you have a bitchy friend or somebody that is in your friendship group and like purposely goes out of their way to make you feel bad, you just have to feel sorry for them. Even like taking this out of like school and friendship groups and bitchiness, like even women in adulthood can be just downright rude and nasty for literally no reason, and it is just because they just honestly feel so bad about themselves that they have to bring you down as well, or they want something from bringing you down, you know? That's like the whole idea behind it. I think all of the women that I've encountered kind of since I've left school, and thinking back to when I was in school and there were like bitchy girls in my year, there was always something that they wanted out of making me feel bad, even if it was just something as small as an ego boost or like to make other people laugh. Like, that's literally what they want, but that just goes straight back into themselves. Like, that goes into their issues that they have. Like, when you think about it, really, how damaged have you got to be? How many issues do you have to make somebody else feel horrible about themselves so you get a little bit of a boost? You know? I don't get it. I really don't get it. And that's how I deal with it. If I ever come across somebody that just isn't very nice, boy or girl, I just feel sorry for them. I really do. And I try my hardest to kind of just think in my head, like, I forgive you for being the way you are because something horrible must have happened to you. Actually, I suppose it's kind of relevant to internet trolls. Like, I guess doing what I do, what any YouTuber does, you literally put yourself on the line for people to judge you and for people to disagree with what you're doing, even if it's something as small as like what you eat for breakfast. It's kind of so personal to me and my life. I choose to put it on the internet, and I choose for people to be able to have their own opinions. But when people leave like such nasty trolly comments that are just aimed to make me feel shit, I just don't get it. I really don't get it. And the only thing I actively think when I see a nasty comment on my YouTube channel, I just genuinely feel sorry for them. I just feel sorry for them, because they must have gone through something so horrible to bring them down so much. You know what I mean? Just, I forgive them and I feel sorry for them. I've had a couple of questions on heartbreak. I've had a really sad question saying how to get over being really, 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 really heartbroken and betrayed with a sad face, and I actually want to cry for you. Like, I feel like I can actually feel your pain through that comment. A while ago, I did do a story time on my relationship story, so if you search that into the YouTube search bar, that will probably come up. And I do discuss heartbreak a lot in that video, because I mainly discussed my first real relationship and how heartbroken I was after that. But I know you must be so sick of hearing this, because I was when I was heartbroken. But Angel, there is the only thing you can do is to literally give yourself time. You will notice one day it hurts a little bit less, and then like a month later you'll realise, I'm actually doing really well right now. Even if it's something so small like messaging another guy, and then all of a sudden you realise you're on a date with somebody else that isn't your ex, and then you're like, oh, I've made it this far. And it feels like forever at the time, but you look back and you understand why it's happened. One day you will understand why it's happened and how you are going to be a stronger and better person out of the breakup, even though it's killing inside right now. Another tip I would have, which I don't feel like I did very well when I was heartbroken, was I didn't really make the use out of having my family and friends around me very much. Like, people would make effort with me and I just kind of shrug it off because I just felt so heartbroken. But genuinely, if people reach out to you and they love you, just take their offer if it's something you feel like you can handle, like going out shopping for the day or something. There are so many more people in this world that love you, probably more than your ex did. It's really important to have those around you at this time. It's okay to admit that like you're not feeling okay and that you need help from somebody. I wish I could give you a big hug. I wish I could be that person for you. Just surround yourself with your best friends and siblings and parents, or you know, the people that make you feel loved the most. I'm just reading through some of the comments, like questions, and I've had like 4 different comments from the same girl, and it's so weird because it's like it was myself asking these questions. So she's just written 4 things: fear of rejection, not feeling good enough in who you are, being the bigger person and not rising from negativity, and self-love. And honestly, I'm not joking, I could do a story time on every single one of those topics. I could literally do like a 45-minute video on every single one. Like I keep saying, I know, I'm sorry, it probably sounds really annoying, but me and Karis are going to be doing a really in-depth video on self-love in a few videos time. But I feel like personally for me, a lot of these issues came from things I went through in my childhood and stuff that was kind of projected onto me through broken people, and I didn't have a choice that these issues were projected onto me. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this, but there's like this whole theory that, I don't know, say if your parents or the person that looks after your kind of primary carer as a child has issues themselves, it's like so much more likely that the child is going to also adopt those insecurities or those issues because it's just what they grew up around. I know myself, I learned a lot of those insecurities, and I developed a lot of those issues in my childhood through certain things that happened. And as an adult, it's taken me a lot of work to get over them, and sometimes I realise I'm not over it. Sometimes something happens and I'm like, I thought I was past that, like why am I getting so upset about this? I know it links back to this, like I know it links back to fear of rejection or not feeling good enough in myself. Sometimes you just realise that you're not. And I've been to therapy. I've literally been to like 3 different therapists. The first one started when I was like 11 years old, and that's gone all the way through into my adulthood. And sometimes it takes more than that. Sometimes it just takes talking to one of your best friends, or reading a self-development book, or listening to a podcast, or just taking yourself out of your own mind for the day. To really sort of crack down to fixing the issue, I think you really have to understand why you have these issues in the first place, and that's something that really helped me. Like maybe just try and do a little bit of digging, meditation, and think about how you can help yourself, because that really is it. Like, you know, you can go to all of these therapy sessions, you can spend hours on the phone to your best friend, you can cry to your boyfriend, but if you don't tap into yourself and sort of like try to dig and find out where these issues came from, it generally comes from a place like where you want to help yourself get over it, then you won't get over it unless you do that. But I do want to do a big story time on a lot of them. So let me know in the comments if that's something you would like to see. If you're still here after all this time, oh my goodness, this is going to be the longest video ever, isn't it? What age do you think that your emotions regulated? I'm a teen who is struggling at the moment. Angel, I love you so much. I hope you're okay. Listen, life is tough, life is hard, and I hate to break it to you, but honestly, I don't think my emotions ever regulated. They definitely got more steady and stable, and I started to be able to control my emotions a little bit more. There's never going to be a time in your life where you're 100% in control of your emotions. Like, we're human beings, that's just what happens. If you're angry, you're angry. How old were you for your first time? Were you scared? This is a question I saw and I was like, I'm not going to answer that, like no way. But then as I'm sat here now, I'm thinking, why not? You know, like what is the big taboo around this? Like, I've seen so much awareness kind of around sexual health and sex experiences at the moment, and while I don't feel like entirely confident speaking about all of that stuff, because I know there's a lot of like family members, like Con's mum watches my YouTube videos and like so does my sisters, so I probably won't ever really go into detail about this, but what I will say is that I was not ready when I had my first time. Like, I wish I waited just for my, not even for necessarily for the right person, but for me to be ready. At the time, I just really wanted to, I don't know, I guess feel older and impress the person I was with, and it wasn't the right person and it wasn't the right time, and I was not ready. So I know that there's a lot of pressure when you start to get into boyfriends, and I know that a lot of my audience are kind of maybe at that point in their lives. I feel like such a big sister saying this, but I swear, like, please, please, please never feel pressured into doing it. Never. Do not let yourself feel pressured. If you feel pressured you're not with the right person, like, just get out of that situation. When it comes to your first time, you should feel so comfortable. You should feel completely at ease with the person. You shouldn't feel like there should be nothing in your body telling you that this is wrong. Just wait until you're with the right person, and you will know when you're with the right person. And don't feel pressured by what any of your friends are doing. I remember I felt like that when I was at school. I felt so like, literally all of my best friends have done it, so I need to do it as well. Don't. Just wait. Just wait. Don't worry about what anybody else thinks about it. It's you, you know? It's your life, it's your experience, it's something you're going to have to carry around with you for the rest of your days. Just make sure it's the right situation for you. And finally, I had a couple of questions on kind of like staying motivated and happy, and like how I balance everything in terms of like family and social media and everything else. I honestly feel like the answer is that I don't. Like, I don't. Sometimes I'm literally like, I have not given myself a break. Like, I haven't sat down and read a book in a year, or I haven't just been with my family or my friends and not like whipped out a camera or thought about taking a picture that I need to take. Like, I feel like if I'm excelling in one area of my life, it often means that something else is losing. I think it just takes being aware, you know, if you don't put work into things and you just let them sit back and slack, it's gonna fall apart. So I feel like it's just not necessarily about always being in balance and not always being motivated or not always being happy, but it's just a little bit more about being aware that when something is really slacking, you need to put attention into it. Have a mental checklist of everything that is important to you and just check in on it every now and then. Just be like, how's my relationship doing? What could we work on? We haven't been on a date for 2 weeks. Let's sort that out. How am I doing with work? Am I living up to what I know I could be doing? Am I doing my best? If the answer is no, you need to work on that. When did I last see my friends? When did I last feel like I had some really good girl time? Not for a long time. Okay, I need to do that. So just like, you know, keep a mental checklist would be my best advice. That, angels, is going to go ahead and conclude the video. I think this has been literally like the longest video I've ever done that was been a sit down. So hope you guys loved it, and if you made it all the way to the end, wow, I love you guys so much. Let me know what other sort of like sit down videos and story time and chat videos you'd like me to do. I actually did really enjoy this one. I was kind of nervous and a little bit anxious about it because I just don't really like being vulnerable. I feel like things go wrong when I'm most vulnerable, so I just really hope you guys kind of appreciate it, or there's like something that you could have taken away from this video, you know. Love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next video.